good morning, and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Relationship Tuesday. We're here to open your mind. I had to think about what day it was. We are living the good life right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We are opening minds to living differently in the world with love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding for ourselves and everyone else. We do that right here weekdays at 11 a.m. You never have to miss a show. Why? Because right now we have people who are watching us on Instagram and Facebook. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And if you out there want to see what's going on live in studio, make sure you follow us at TGL Radio Show, Facebook and Instagram. We are live. You can share it if you enjoy it. Share. It is the most underutilized button in the world. And, of course, we want to make sure you tune in each and every weekday for Motivation Monday, Relationship Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, Gumbo Talk Thursday, and Freedom Friday. I'm really excited about this Freedom Friday because we are going to have none other than the Calvin Mackey right here letting it go. Freedom. He has a lot to say. He's absolutely just inspirational on 10 different levels. So I'm really excited to have him here this week. So make sure you tune in for Freedom Friday. Dun, 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 dun. I have none other than my two favorite co-hosts. I can only for on Tuesday. See how I say that? Because then the other days,
yeah you got to fix that.
Exactly.
Clean it up.
I see that. See, I had already forgotten what today was. I was like, this week has just been so much has gone on already, and the topic this week is compassion. I'm really excited about it. We started with a shift, a transition. We had new beginnings. Last week was discernment, when you start your new beginning. Now we're actually going through the topics that I talk about each and every day, because I believe when you talk about them, they fall into your spirit. Love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding. And I wanted to start with compassion. So let me introduce my co-host. I have none other than the Henry Jolly. He is our resident relationship therapist. Henry is in the building. Henry, introduce yourself for everyone who is watching and tell them how they can follow you.
Good morning. This is Mr. Henry Jolly. Phone number 504-259-8671. I am a provisional marriage and family therapist. So if you need counseling for any reason, give me a call, 504-259-8671. And if you can't get a hold of me,
he's going to swap it over to Dr.
The doc's in the building.
The doctor, but I love having both sides of the spectrum. Having a male voice and a female voice, because sometimes there are guys who want to talk to a woman, and sometimes there are guys who want to talk to a man, and vice versa. So you want to make sure that we cover all of our bases, and that's what the Good Life is all about. So, Dr. Tammy Wilborn, good morning. How are you? How are you this morning? What are you doing? How can people contact you? They call me all day long and send me messages. So I was like, at the beginning of the show, just tell them how they can contact you.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Tammy Wilborn. I'm the owner and Chief Clinical Officer of Wilborn Clinical Services and the founder and creator of the Black Women's Wellness Conference. I'm a licensed professional counselor and board-approved clinical supervisor. And you can find me at wilbornclinicalservices.com, or you can call me at 504-509-3995, or you can email me at info@wilbornclinicalservices.com.
Well, y'all, we are going to jump right into it. The conversation today is... Ooh, Henry, I flipped it around on you. The conversation today is compassion, and I wanted to break it up into a little bit a different aspect of it, because I talked yesterday about having compassion for yourself, and we kind of gave a broad range, but ourselves and others. So I want to make sure we do that, but I want us to recognize that every relationship in our life we don't get to choose. Like our family, obviously, people that we work with, and things of that nature. But they do have relationships that we do choose. Our significant others. We get to choose those different type of relationships. So I want that to come into play with the conversation that we do have today. So just letting y'all know, we hit both sides of the coin if you don't matter. I go on to read that, and I get this from Psychology Today, that even when our relationships are by choice, we can be challenged by their conditions. Exercising compassionate acceptance, and I want to really throw that in, compassionate acceptance, putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. Sometimes it's not about us. Actually, I have a note for us a little bit later that actually 10% of any given exchange has nothing to do with us. That's what they say. And so I wanted y'all's input on this because there's this book that I absolutely adore. It is called The 4 Agreements. And they say, don't take anything personally. You know, it's generally not about you. And so with compassion, you know, so many times we think it is just about us, but taking ourselves out of that, seeing exactly what it is about, having a little compassion for ourselves to be like, wait, it's not about you. Let's figure out why you are so touched by this situation, why it is triggering you before you go off, and then step into their shoes and see it from their perspective, and what can you do and how can you have compassion for them. Having it on both sides of the coin when it's somebody you have to deal with, being like a family member, and somebody that you don't necessarily have to deal with, you know, somebody you may be dating. So how does that work? I know I threw a lot out at y'all at one time, but of course we have the entire show. We want to make sure that you tune in for the entire show because this is a show you do not want to miss. Tammy?
I've always looked at compassion as, you know, having sympathy for somebody, definitely putting myself in their shoes. Mm-hmm. I have a tendency to have compassion for people when they're in situations that they had no control over. Mm-hmm. But when you do have control over situations and you still choose to do wrong, it's hard to have compassion for you. This is just me personally. Mm-hmm. So I do think it's important, though, if you want to be a more compassionate person, to try to put yourself in that person's shoes for sure.
How many times do you do that? Since you're like, if they keep doing, because some people are in cycles, and I can't even lie, I've been in my own cycle. So, you know, I'm like, how do you, and I know y'all are, you know, from a different point of view, but how do you judge that? Do you say, oh, you only get 2 strikes and you're out? Do you say you get 3 strikes and you're out? Or do you say, like, if I see you making progress, then I'm willing to be a little bit more compassionate for your situation? Or is it just like, at what point do you have to have compassion for yourself and you say, I can't deal with this anymore?
I think that's kind of a determining factor, is because you can have, and so, you know, I think there's a difference between, we're talking about compassion, and Henry brought up sympathy, and there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. And so, you know, on the compassionate side, compassionate sounds more like empathy, in that empathy is understanding somebody's perspective, whereas sympathy is more, oh, you poor thing, it's kind of a pitying thing. Mm-hmm. And so I think where it becomes dangerous when we have compassion is that if we keep understanding other people's perspective to the detriment of our own well-being, and it does, you know, you understanding and trying to empathize with that person, and it's still being hurtful towards you, is not necessarily helpful to you. So I think, to me, the boundary, the line drawing is, how much of yourself do you have to lose to be understanding of someone else?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
But some people do. And I think, you know, the thing that's interesting, you were talking about relationships of choice versus sort of relationships of design. I think a lot of times where I see this happening is in families. We don't choose our families, but we try to be compassionate when we know that our family members are dysfunctional. They may have...
You're getting some hearts on that on social media. They're loving that.
Well, because think about it, right? I mean, you know, your family is your first friends. They're your first sort of socialization group. And so we deal with a lot with our families, and we empathize and we understand and we do all this other stuff. But what happens when the people that you don't get to choose hurt you continuously, and you're trying to have a relationship with them that's healthy, and they're not making the changes, and you're the one that's ending up being hurt and injured? What do you do then? Do you continue to accept that, or do you say, I have to deal with you from the other side because I can't do this?
And how difficult is it to do that? Because you can't run away from your family. Like, they're your family. They're going to be there at Christmas and Thanksgiving and birthday parties, and
some people do.
But I'm not saying that you can't. I'm saying it's more difficult than, you know, somebody that you're dating and saying, you know what, this isn't really working out for me. I've seen 2 red flags, and it's not going to work. You know, it's better if we don't move forward. Yeah. I mean, how do you say that with, you know, let it be your child who is a grown 38-year-old child, and, you know, they're abusive Or you have a parent who isn't loving, and, you know, they're always throwing negativity your way. And you're like, you know, like, I'm going to need to just take a step back. Or, you know, a cousin, or, you know, however it may be, a grandmother, you know, not trying to be funny, but we have a lot of our older generation who are kind of stuck in their mindsets, and they like to tell everybody everything. And you're like, oh, but I still love you. You hug them and you turn around and you look crazy, and everybody knows that they talk crazy, but it's hurtful. You know what I mean? And they're the one when you walk in, or they're like, oh, they tell the children, oh, you fat, or you this, and you're like, don't tell my child they fat. They're 6.
Wow,
y'all laughing, but
that's serious.
That's true. People
Yes.
do that. Yeah. And so how do you protect your children in these situations where it's somebody that you want to have compassion for them? You know, they're older, but you're like, you got to draw a line because you got to protect your child.
They're not having compassion for you when they
right.
say stuff
but
like that.
How do you change their frame of mind at 86 or whatever it may be? You know?
And I think there's a cultural context to that. I think in particularly in the African American community, we are taught to respect elders, and we're taught to respect, you know, certain people regardless. And, you know, where I see this playing out in counseling is that you have people, as you mentioned, you know, just a few minutes ago, people that are being abused by family members. And there's yet this cultural message that you still need to respect your mother, you still need to respect your grandmother. Well, am I supposed to respect somebody that's abusing me?
Right, to a detriment to myself.
To a detriment to myself. And
I agree.
then it becomes intergenerational, and so now you have children and so on and so forth, and so now the disrespect is now towards your child. Or that has to stop. We have to stop that.
It has got to stop.
We got to stop.
There has to be, and I don't know what the line is, but I mean, you know, there has to be a level of compassion for yourself to, you know, not accept the okie doke anymore. You know, there has to be a compassion level for yourself. And Henry, you were shocked by, you know, us having that conversation, but I'm like, I have seen it firsthand happen.
Well, I'll tell you another thing. You see people get in relationships where they have a little bit too much compassion for the other person, meaning like if somebody had a rough childhood, or they've gone through a lot of negative things, it's like, it's not supposed to be a project for the spouse. You know, I'm trying to fix you because you got all this stuff going on. Sometimes you can be overly compassionate to where you're hurting yourself. And you got to be really mindful of that. And there's a fine line, you know, of being, like you said, empathetic and sympathetic. And some people in relationships, they have sympathy on the other person so much. Well, you know, their mom raised them this way, their dad raised them this way, so you let a whole lot of things slide. You know, I see women make excuses for men where, well, he didn't grow up with his dad, so he may not know how to treat a woman. Well, he ain't supposed to be learning on the job with you. Let him find out on his own, and then come back to you once he kind of got it. Now, if you got the patience to help somebody walk through it, but if you have the patience
of Job
to deal with it, but they want to get better on their own, because they got to want it for themselves. You know, you as a spouse, you can't want something for somebody if they don't want it.
Ooh, you can't be fighting for somebody and they fighting against you.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, if they really want to get better and they want to learn how to treat a woman, or if she wants to learn how to treat a man, and you can kind of help teach them, go to some couples counseling
therapy,
and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, you
call one of them.
Yeah, there you go.
Dr. Wilborn, call Henry.
Right.
Jolly.
There you go. So, I mean, you know, you just got to be mindful of that sympathy and empathy is really big.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Wilborn?
I mean, I don't know what else to say about outside of what Henry just said, because I think we're kind of bouncing around the same ideas, but it all ultimately goes back to, you know, compassion has to start with you. I can empathize and understand your upbringing. I can empathize and understand that you might have a value system that is not helpful to our relationship. I can empathize and understand that you have some things that you haven't resolved. And if I'm somebody that's interested in you in this relationship that I'm choosing, I want to be in, then I will rock with you for a minute. Right. And if it means us having counseling or having conversations or whatever it means, it does mean that. But if it gets to a point where the empathy is not reciprocated and the love and the respect is not reciprocated, then you have to draw a line.
Well, then I will throw out a question for both of you, which is, you know, kind of where I was going. Is the level of acceptance we are or are not willing to exercise, is it a reflection of the depth of compassion we hold for ourselves? Is it a reflection of the compassion that we hold for ourselves? So if I'm offering all this compassion to someone else, how do I see myself? If I'm not willing to offer compassion to someone else, how do I see myself? And am I offering myself a certain level of compassion, yes or no? Like, am I too stuck on being a perfectionist where I show myself no compassion and I know I'm touching a nerve to somebody out there? Everything has to be perfect. Where I may act like that, but I offer all the compassion in the world to everybody else. But why can't I see that for myself?
Right.
And I can only raise my hand because I have been that person. And so I'd love to have that conversation when we get back from the break. Lee's like, we're breaking. All right, Lee, we're going to break. It is Relationship Tuesday. I have Dr. Tammy Wilborn and I have Henry Jolly, our resident relationship therapist, in the studio today. We are talking compassion for ourselves and for others. What does that look like? Let's walk into that space. It's a good life, y'all. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Henry Jolly, your relationship expert and nationally certified counselor. Everyone at some point in their life goes through struggles. I am a firm believer that people have the ability to will themselves into good situations, but sometimes they may need some assistance. Being a loving husband, father, and successful businessman while having a passion for the counseling profession has allowed me to gain experience with a variety of these struggles. Let's work together to achieve your individual, family, or marital potential. Come and see me at the New Orleans Growth Center, located at 3712 MacArthur Boulevard on the West Bank in Suite 209. You can reach me at 504-259-8671 or by email, which is henry.jolly@yahoo.com. Thanks for your time, and I'm looking forward to working with you soon.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tammy Lewis Wilborn, owner and Chief Clinical Officer of Wilborn Clinical Services and founder and producer of the annual Black Women's Wellness Conference. Wilborn Clinical Services provides professional and culturally responsive clinical services to meet the needs of a diverse community. Located in the historic Broadmoor community, we are minutes away from downtown New Orleans. If you're an individual, couple, or family looking for counseling in a warm, non-judgmental environment, call 504-509-3995. Are you a pre-licensed counselor looking for clinical supervision, interested in professional and personal development opportunities, or need an experienced consultant? Call Wilborn Clinical Services at 504-509-3995. Find us on the web at www.wilbornclinicalservices.com. Follow us on Facebook at Wilborn Clinical Services. Do it today, because at Wilborn Clinical Services, we build healthy community, one client at a time.
Hi, this is Bishop Henry Bolden. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to personally extend to you, your family, and your friends this invitation to join me for worship. That's right. Come experience God on a whole new level. Join me at Perfecting Life Church this week. Make weekend plans right now. Join me for our Tuesday night life service each and every Tuesday night at 6:45 p.m. Only 45 minutes. Come as you are, dressed comfortably. Bring your family and friends with you. Also, don't forget our electrifying Sunday morning worship experience at 9:45. That's right. Come as you are and watch God do something incredible for you. Join me, Perfecting Life Church, 2025 Whitney Avenue in the beautiful city of Gretna, Louisiana. Again, that's 2025 Whitney Avenue in Gretna, Louisiana. Listen, Perfecting Life Church is a place you can call home. Bring your faith, your friends, and your family. God bless you.
There's a miracle healing crusade coming to New Orleans. God is still working miracles, and he has a miracle for you. Get ready for the miracle crusade against cancer beginning Saturday, August 26th at 7 p.m., then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, August 27th through the 29th. It's 2 services, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. at Light City Church. The CDC reported new cancer diagnoses at 1.5 million a year, and more than 500,000 persons dying from this disease. Are you suffering from cancer? Come get healed at the Miracle Crusade Against Cancer with David E. Taylor. All seats are free, but you must pre-register at Eventbrite.com. Search Miracle Crusade or download the Light City app and register there. Pastors, get preferred seating when registering with your group of 25 or less. Community groups of any kind are asked to register together as well. Come, see cancer, diabetes, and debilitating diseases cured. It's August 26th through the 29th. The Miracle Crusade Against Cancer with David E. Taylor at Light City Church at 6117 St. Claude, where Chief Apostle Leonard Lucas pastors.
You are now listening to the radio station that's keeping it real. WBOK 1230 AM, where it's real talk for real time.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Relationship Tuesday, and we're here to open your mind. We are living the good life right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We are opening minds to living differently in the world with love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding for ourselves and everyone else. We do that right here weekdays at 11 a.m. You never have to miss a show with Motivation Monday, Relationship Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, Gumbo Talk Thursday, and Freedom Friday. I'm really excited about this week. I think I'm excited about every week. We are talking compassion this week. We are breaking down each and one of the core values of the good life: love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding. So you do not want to miss these weeks. I promise. This week is compassion, and I had one of our followers on Facebook, or I should say on Instagram, I'm sorry, say a lot of people, wait, let me read it correctly. A lot of people have a mind that they didn't take the time to see. Wait. Oh, no, that was something else they wrote. Wait, let me go back to the first one. I'm sorry, y'all. A lot of people, I know, oh, no, and this is shine to me. A lot of people change everything in life, but never their mindset. We outgrow clothing, we move in new homes, we change jobs, we change mates. Very few people take the time to do a self-examination and change. Oh my goodness. And they go on to say a lot of people have reminders that they didn't even take the time to see it work for themselves. We have to be open to new perspectives. That'll help us grow when we look at what someone else sees. Yes, yes, and more yes. Which is why I love the topic of compassion for ourselves and everyone else. Before we went into the break, we were talking about how sometimes we can have, compassion for others and have none for ourselves and go to extremes, or have all the compassion in the world for ourselves and have zero compassion for others. And look, people are looking because, and then Tammy's looking up and Henry's like nodding his head, because I know we do it. I did it. I can only speak for myself. And I have seen people who do it opposite way, where I have all the compassion in the world for other people, and people who know me know I go out of my way for other people. But I had past tense. I had zero for myself. I was a perfectionist. Everything had to be like this. And if it wasn't like, I was like, oh, let me go fix it. Or, so worried about.
So it's like being down on yourself when you don't have compassion for yourself.
Exactly. Not having, being very strict about it. And if, being very hard on yourself. But if you did the same thing, I'd be like, oh, Henry, let me help you.
Oh, I know.
Let me sit down with you.
You've done that.
I'll go
with
get
me.
somebody. I have, right? I'll go find somebody to help you. I can connect you with this, but I won't take that time and do it for myself. So why? And look, Dr. Tammy is nodding her head. So why? I'm going to let you go, and then I'll let Henry bounce off of you.
Well, to me, compassion, just like anything else, can be a mask. So when I think of what you just used an example of yourself in terms of being able to extend that and extend it without any, just do it, whatever.
No hesitation. I would do anything for anybody.
The first thing that came to my mind is what void were you trying to fill by doing that? And so I think a lot of times when you see people able to do it for other people and not for themselves, is because there's something that there's a void that they're trying to fulfill. Sometimes I tend to call it like a savior complex. People want to save everybody, and it's like, no, most people don't need you to save them. If they have a spiritual belief, there's only one Savior, right? If that's what you believe. Right. So they don't need you to save. Save yourself, but a lot of times people try to save other people because they're really trying to mask something. They need to be working on something for themselves.
Right. Well, I mean, people who have followed the show know that I've already been, I've been in my process, and I don't ever believe that we are, finished. So I'm always a work in progress. But we have to take the time to heal ourselves, to work on ourselves, to look at what has happened in the past, and we have got to take the time to have compassion for ourselves. And I truly believe that before we can walk into a relationship, this is Relationship Tuesday, so I had to throw this in here, before we can work and step into a relationship, we have to have that compassion for ourselves, because everything that we're dealing with will then flow over into that and affect that person, and not just that person, everyone who surrounds us. Mm-hmm. And we don't take enough time to do that self-reflection, to have compassion for ourselves, to fill those voids for ourselves rather than looking for other people to fill those voids.
I have a question for Dr. Wellborn.
Yes.
Okay. So do you, and this has nothing to do with Eileen, all right? Do you think there's a correlation with people who really are so willing to, be so helpful and wanting to feel liked by a lot of people or accepted by a lot of people? Do you think that could be the reason why?
For some people, they want to be, they want to be accepted at the end of the day, it boils down to people want to matter. They want to feel like they matter. And so for some people that the acceptance is driving it. For other people, it's, feeling like they're doing good, feeling like they're good enough in some ways. But it ultimately boils down to feeling like you matter and have some sort of worth, in my mind, that worth and mattering kind of comes to it. Because
as you're talking, now I'm starting to think, too, they always say, what would Jesus do? Jesus would help everybody, too. Right. So it's kind of like you got one side of it where it could be they just trying to, it's like a selfish thing subconsciously where they want to feel liked and loved by everybody because they're so helpful. But then it's a giving thing where they're doing what Jesus would do. I'm going to give and give till I can't give no more.
Yeah, but the last part of what you just said on the latter statement is important. Give till you can't give no more. To what cost? And so if you're giving selflessly all the time, there's a cost that comes with that.
Right.
When you're not, receiving what it is that you're giving, and you're not replenishing yourself, and you're not taking care of yourself, then there's a cost that comes to just being that person that's constantly giving. When I think about what it looks like with black women in particular, there's this whole stereotype around us being strong black women, right? And so there's this idea that black women are we do all these things.
I'm tired.
But what happened? You know why you're tired? Because you're constantly doing it. And you know what else is the issue with that? Nobody checks on those people.
Yeah,
Could I get an amen?
Could I get an amen? Check on
you're not sad. You don't hurt. You're not human. You don't go through some of the other issues that most humans go through because you're strong and because you're constantly giving. You must have it all figured out, and you must have all of these different things. And so to get back to your point, there is a risk that comes with that, I think.
But even, I was reading in Matthew. Y'all look at me, I'm reading my Bible. I was reading in Matthew, even Jesus is when the Pharisees, they wanted to poke at him and question him. He's like, psh, he puts him to the side and he keeps on going.
Right.
Even he did that. So, there comes a point where you just have to know that they're not about God's work, or they're not about your work, or they're not about positive or good, however you want to define it. They aren't about that. And so I'm going to stay in my lane.
So, Eileen, I got a question for you now.
Yes.
All right. So, you would say you're more of a giver, right?
Yeah.
Slightly. All right. Have you noticed, just in relationships, even friendships, that you were giving way more than you were receiving, and you just kept doing it? At what point were you does it take you longer to be you know what? I'm just giving and I'm not getting enough in return. How long would it take you to realize that?
I will say, now having done self-reflection, and for those of you who listen to the show on a regular basis, you know what I'm talking about, and my walk that I've taken in the past couple weeks, but even before that, because I was speaking out loud about it. In the past, yes. In the very far past, yes, I was always giving more, but it was once I was done, I was done. I have never gone back to a relationship, ever. I would say with the exception of my ex. Yeah, I'm giving you all the business. My ex-husband, I was we tried it again for 2 weeks, and we had kids, and I was nope, I was right the first time. Once I'm done, I'm done. Like, and y'all, for women, and that's true for a lot of women, not all women, of course, but for a lot of women. Once we're done, we're done. And that process of we're still trying, if you are slightly interested, you need to latch on to that. Because when we're done, it is over. I have emotionally, psychologically, physically, and everything detached myself from you. There is no coming back. So I'm going to give up to an extent that I'm okay with. And so I can't really bounce that off because it may be different with different people depending on the situation. But people have different personalities. And I took one of those personality traits. And funny thing, Bishop Love had given it to me. For those who pay attention, are regular listeners, you know what book I'm talking about. But I had a high percentage in compassion, which he was very unusual because most people, it's a very low percentage. I had like a 65% compassion rate. But I know what my calling is in the Lord. So I know why my compassion rate is higher. Now, does it behoove me to understand that and to watch out for people taking advantage of me? Absolutely. And I'm more aware of that now, which I was not then. I work in that now. And so it just is what it is. But for me now, I know who I am. I know what I'm going to I know what I'm going to put up with. And I also know what my calling is. So if God tells me to do something, whether I want to or not, I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to surrender and I'm going to do his work. Now that's one. Two is I'm also going to take care of myself. And I'm not going to let somebody mess over me. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. God, I'm good. Okay, good. Now I can walk this way. You know what I'm saying? So.
Have you ever seen that show, Ridiculousness?
Ridiculousness?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so people are falling and getting hurt and stuff. You probably don't laugh at that, right? It's very difficult. I watch it a couple times, and some of it's but no, I'm ouch. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
See, I'm the opposite. I laugh at all of it. I mean, they can have a bone sticking out their skin, everything, and I'm laughing.
That's not funny.
But that's because I'm less compassionate than you. You see, so I was just trying to.
That is a very good example, Henry. That's a very good example. Yes, I don't love that show. I can't watch people be hurt. But that's exactly the conversation we're having, that everybody has different levels of compassion. And just because that's not your walk or it's not part of who you are doesn't mean that it makes you a bad person. But if you do see someone hurt, you should be able to be put yourself in their shoes and help them.
Yeah, there's levels. Yeah,
there are levels to it. We want everyone to have a certain, in my good life mind frame, everybody should have a basic level. I'm not asking you to go above and beyond. Right. Everybody has their own walk, their own path. But, if you see somebody hurt, don't just leave them there. I'm going to call 911. I'm probably going to get them a bottle of water and some food and sit there. True story. Speaking of compassion, true story. I was driving by and they had a biker that was hit by a car, and I stopped and I held his hand until the EMT came. Wow. Because they took forever. It was over an hour. And, he couldn't, but that's who I am.
Yeah. Now, I don't think I would laugh in person at no kind of injury like that. But,
I couldn't let him just stay there. And, he didn't have, he was,
Dr. Wilborn, have you ever had friendships where they were lasting too long when you were giving too much and not receiving? How long did it take you to kind of wake up and say, you know what, this is a whack friendship? It's not a real friendship.
You're whack.
I have learned, let me see, to answer your question. I'm a loyal person, so I do tend to hang in there longer sometimes than I need to, and I certainly have done that with friends. I think as I have become more compassionate with myself and loving of myself, I have been able to be less blinded by my own sense of loyalty to see that the people that I was loyal to, they were not always loyal to me.
Yes.
And I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that, sometimes people wear different things as masks. And so, again, if your mask is compassion, being compassionate or being loyal, you don't always see what you need to see. Mm-hmm. And so, having removed that mask of I'm still loyal, but I've, now allowed my vision to be a little bit more panoramic, I've been able to step away from relationships where it's not being reciprocated, the thing that I'm giving, which is loyalty and love and respect.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because this brings me to a question that someone brought up the other day to me. And I was like, I can't wait to talk to y'all, to ask y'all about it. How we see ourselves is only obviously how we see ourselves, but we see a perception of ourselves. We don't actually see ourselves as who we are? Yes or no?
I think it depends, and it goes back to the point that your listener made, which I was hoping that there would be an opportunity for us to segue back to what was said, which was that whole idea our mindset doesn't always change. So I think a lot of times it's hard for us to be introspective and look at ourselves as who we truly are, because a lot of us are afraid of what we might find.
Well, that's right.
Wait. That was so powerful. I need you to repeat that one more time.
It's hard for us to look at ourselves and really have what I call that conversation in the mirror where you're looking at not the face, but the face behind the face.
Right.
That's hard for a lot of people to do that because you're afraid of what you're going to find. And it's much easier to kind of walk in this whole mask and I can smile and hide behind, certain things, because if I really looked at and thought about the person that I am, there's some things about me I don't like.
Right.
Would you date you? Not you, but I'm saying that's what
that's
the person
the question.
should ask.
Would you date you?
Yeah, absolutely I would date me.
I date me.
Because I'm fire like that. I know I'm fire like I am. But I haven't always been able to do that. And a lot of the reasons why I haven't been able to do that is because of a lot of the messaging that I received from family and just, outside sources about who I was that made me question, am I really good enough? And in order for me to be able to answer that question, I had to look at those pieces of myself that I liked, which was easier, and also look at the pieces of myself that I did not like, which was much, much harder. And when I was able to do that and have my moment, because it caused a mini sort of breakdown.
Yeah.
A small one.
Yeah.
Mini breakdown with a
Who
capital
wants
B.
to say that they aren't, I'm not perfect. I have,
Exactly.
I have flaws.
But in doing
And digest
that,
it.
it became freeing. When I realized I was not perfect, I was then free.
Say that one more time.
When I realized that I wasn't perfect, I became free.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
That's even not only mental, even down to like a person's physical looks. Like if somebody says, look, I got a big nose. All right. What you going to do, have surgery? You could do that.
Right.
But if you just accept it, look, all right, got a big nose. No
It is
problem.
what it is, right.
Move on. That's it. You know
My
what
big
I mean?
nose, I love it.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't be stuck in, I wish I was more like this and I wish I was more like that. Just be real with yourself and understand who you are. Me personally, I know I have a lot of flaws. Am I a good dad? Yeah. Good husband? Yeah. Can I be better in all those areas? Yeah. But I also know some things I don't want to be better at. And I'm real with myself. I know, like, I don't want to do certain things, and I just...
You don't like to read, and you're like, I am not
There
interested
you go. I
in-
don't
right.
like to read.
I'm trying to make an
right.
easy example. You're like, I have read enough in school. I do not want to do it.
Perfect.
And you're
yeah.
okay with that.
I'm okay
And like,
with
I'm
that.
right here on this level, and I'm good.
Now, I know how to read. I mean, I'm a beast
Right.
with reading, but I don't...
Right.
You have a
prefer not
master's
to.
degree. Clearly,
Right.
you know how to read.
I
Right.
just prefer
You're educated.
not to read a whole
I did it enough. I'm good.
I got like a 3-sentence maximum. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. We have to take a quick break. We are having a conversation about compassion today. We are here on Relationship Tuesday with none other than the Dr. Tammy Wilborn. We have our resident relationship therapist, Henry Jolly, in the studio. Y'all, give y'all numbers real quick before we go into break.
Henry Jolly, numbers 504-259-8671.
One more time.
504-259-8671.
All right, Dr. Wilborn, how can they contact you?
Wilborn Clinical Services, 504-509-3995.
We are on Relationship Tuesday. We are talking compassion, and we will be right back. Isogenics is one of the fastest growing companies in the world because their products work. Their solutions and culture has redefined the health and wellness industry. Science backs their products and statistics back their success. But it's the people who make them successful. And I, Eileen Carter, have joined the Isogenics revolution. I've used the products and followed their system, and I'd swear by them. I'm on my journey of transformation and invite you to join me and try Isogenics
Isogenics today. Challenge yourself and change your life. Find information and testimonials at thegoodliferadioshow.isogenics.com. thegoodliferadioshow.isogenics.com. thegoodliferadioshow.isagenics.com. Order yours today. Small businesses play an important role in society, and L&R Security is no different. L&R Security delivers safety and comfort to our neighborhoods, events, apartment communities, conventions, work sites, festivals, and your business. L&R Security can be reached at 504-943-3191 to ensure the safety of your employees, customers, family, friends, and you. L&R Security has made its mark in the security arena for over 37 years and will faithfully continue that tradition. Call today for your personalized consultation to ensure your security needs are met. L&R Security differentiates itself by creating partnerships with our clients and guards. We are now hiring armed and unarmed guard professionals, retired military, sheriffs, and PD to grow with us and impact our community. Be a part of the change with L&R Security. Call us now at 504-943-3191. 504-943-3191.
Do you need to sell your home fast? You should call NOLA Homes Project and join the hundreds of motivated sellers that receive big paychecks for their homes. We're part of a large group of experienced real estate developers who are currently looking for homes in your area. It doesn't matter the reason, inheriting unwanted property, facing foreclosure, problem tenants, we can make a fair offer on your home within 24 hours, close very quickly, and we buy in its as-is condition. Also, if you ever thought about making money flipping homes right here in the local area, then you should call NOLA Homes Project and join the area's #1 real estate mentoring program. Earn while you learn our system on how to find properties to flip, how to evaluate deals quickly, and how to use other people's money to fund your real estate deals. In fact, if the property looks good for a rehab, we'll put up 100% of the money for your deals. Call NOLA Homes Project today at 504-322-1536, 322-1536, or go to NOLAHomesProject.com.
Beginning August 31st, Thursdays at 6 p.m., tune in to the Love Doctor Show. That's right, I'm on the air again at WBOK. Thursdays at 6 p.m., we're going to talk about real love and how to make things better in our lives. Lloyd Dennis is the Love Doctor, and I want to talk to you, and all I want to talk about is love. Thursdays at 6 p.m. on WBOK, beginning August 31st.
You are now listening to the radio station that's keeping it real. WBOK 1230 AM, where it's real talk for real time.
Good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Relationship Tuesday, and we're here to open your mind. We are living the good life right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We are opening minds to living differently in the world with love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding for ourselves and everyone else. We do that right here weekdays at 11 a.m. Never miss a show. We are also rebroadcast in the evenings right here at 11 on WBOK, but you can catch us on Facebook or Instagram. Instagram, it only lasts 24 hours, so you got to be quicker than that. And on Facebook, it is always there. We do upload to YouTube as well, The Good Life Radio Show, Eileen. So make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. I have Dr. Tammy Wilborn in the studio. Dr. Tammy Wilborn, how can they follow you?
Yes.
Trying to get all that out.
So we're on the web, Wilborn Clinical Services. We're also on Facebook under Wilborn Clinical Services, and the Black Women's Wellness Conference is also on Facebook. And then they can reach me at 504-509-3995, or they can email info@wilbornclinicalservices.com.
And Henry Jolly, our resident relationship therapist, how can they follow you on social media?
Social media, you can follow me on Instagram at Henry Jolly _counselor.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's correct.
That is correct.
And also my phone number 504-259-8671.
And if y'all have problems following them, you can, if you're following me, which you should be, at TGL Radio Show, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, I will tag them in those posts for Relationship Tuesday. So go there and you can just hit it and follow them as well. We're about to jump back into the conversation. We have been discussing compassion for ourselves and everyone else. And Dr. Wilborn brought up a great point during the break, which is why y'all should be following us and listen to us on social media, because they just off the charts. I'm so blessed to have the knowledge that I have around me. But she was talking about how our tagline is so impactful with opening your mind with regard to compassion. So Dr. Wilborn, I'm going to throw it to you.
Well, what I was saying is that, you know, a lot of the idea of opening your mind to me is connected to this idea of freedom, and a lot of people don't think about, we tend to focus a lot on, you know, opening your mind is freedom to now do the things that we want to do or be the person that we want to be. But what we don't often consider is, what do I lose by doing that? Mm-hmm. And it's often the fear of the loss that keeps people from opening their minds and being free. So, you know, now if I'm opening my mind and I'm you know, removing the shackles of cycles from my family, that might mean I might lose some family.
Right.
Or, you know, if I'm freeing my mind and I'm now not drinking alcohol, for example, that might mean some places I'm not hanging out anymore.
Right.
So, you know, opening your mind is freeing, and with that freedom comes loss. And that's the thing that is often hard for people to wrap their minds around.
But is it, and when we say loss, it's, I mean, I hate to throw it out there, but I got to be real, because the first thing that popped in my head, it's a loss of an addiction usually. It's a loss of something that has not proved to be beneficial to us. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Whether it be, you know, for me, you know, I've said it before, I had the record playing of I'm Not Good Enough, you know, in my head, and releasing that, you know, but I'm so used to that record playing, you know, being a giver, and I want to take it, and I want to, looking for a void to fill, to be enough. But when I walk through that freedom, oh my gosh, it is like a whole new world out there. Y'all try it. I promise. It's worth it on every level. But it's hard and it's difficult. And I had to be transparent. I had to be authentic. I had to be vulnerable. And when people say those words, they generally look at those words as negative. They usually look at those words as, you know, weak. They look at those words as, just something they want to run away from, where I come to tell you, when you stand in your transparency, when you stand in your authenticity, when you stand in your vulnerability, it is the highest level of strength that you can attain. In my mind, I can only say it because I've done it, and I can only say it because I've seen other people do it. And I'm like, whatever they have, I want some of that. Mm-hmm. And so many of your inspirational speakers that you hear all over, they say it, and you're like, you want what they have, you want the energy level they have, you want the freedom that they have, but we're not willing to walk into it. And I said I wasn't for a long time, but it is the greatest strength that I have ever had. And you talked about me being able to walk away. I have a strength now. I could walk away. I could still help you and walk away.
Right.
I could say, oh, Henry still needs this. I could have compassion for you and still not put myself emotionally in a situation.
That's Jesus right there.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, many people can't do that.
As long as you are, you know, who you are, if you are still being self-defeating, if I know somebody who can help you, I'm still going to do that for you. But I'm definitely not going to put myself in a situation to be hurt again. That's two separate things. And so I'm able to walk that walk now. Why? Because I know who I am. I didn't before, but I do now. And so that's that level of opening my mind. And so did I have to release some stuff, Dr. Tammy? Absolutely. But guess what? I dropped those bags, and the freedom I have is next level. And I invite each and every one of you to be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I mean, even before I joined the show and just joined you as a listener, I always thought of how powerful it is to open your mind, because if you can free your mind, you can be free. But again, you also have to be, freedom is active. So even if you walk towards that door and you are free, freedom has to be maintained. You can't just have it. You still have to pursue it and maintain it. And so
it's a walk.
It is a walk.
Yeah, it's a walk.
And sometimes it's a lonely walk. So
yes, but it's okay
for some people.
I'd rather be lonely than miserable. I'm just telling y'all.
When you are okay with yourself, right? So, because I'm in good company with me.
Mm.
So I'm okay with being alone at times, but there are some people who are not in good company with themselves.
Wow.
Because they don't know themselves.
Or they don't even like themselves.
They haven't had that look at their face behind the face. They haven't been introspective. They haven't been able to reconcile those things about themselves that they don't like. So when they are in the company of one, they are not in good company.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's why people turn to alcohol and drugs and
sex,
negative people. Yeah, I mean.
Sex is one of the big ones because you don't want to be alone.
For sure. I always look at life like this. If you look at whatever situation you're in, don't look at it like if you lose something, don't look at it like a loss. It's either you win or you learn. Don't look at it as a loss, because sometimes it may take for something to be removed in your life for you to get, something 10 times better. Whether it's a car, a person, a job, 10 times better understanding. I mean, just the simple things, So it doesn't always have to be, oh, I lost, woe is me. I'm afraid to move on. Nah, be excited about the new beginning.
But
That's what it's about.
It's even taking the time, and Henry, you had a great point. It's even taking the time to change our perspective of what that is. Just like you said, instead of looking at it as a loss, it's not a loss. We have been trained, we have been downloaded to think that it's a loss. It's not a loss. Just like a failure. You think an F on your test. You're like, I failed. Well, no, it's a lesson.
You learn to study.
You learn to study.
You
learn that, and I don't want this feeling ever again.
Right.
I don't want this feeling ever again. So what am I going to do differently? And so now you may have lived, 15 years of your life. You're in high school and you had a bad grade. You're like, but I have the rest of my life ahead of me. So either continue. I don't want to feel that again. Yeah. So you're going to have 50, 70, 80 years of happiness where you can look back and there was 15 of learning, or 15, I'm just being whatever. But if we can look at that now, like I'm how old am I? I'm 38 years old. I had to be like, how old am I? I was like, I can't give myself an extra number. But I'm 38. What am I going to look like when I'm 78? I have 40 years. And people live in a 78 all the time, 88, 98. I'm going to live forever, y'all. But I have all of this time. I could double my lifetime. What do I want that to look like? Right. I can't change what my beginning looked like, but I can change what my ending looks like. I can change the story. And that last chapter is, for me, it's one of the most impactful chapters. That's where you find out, how it all came together. That's where you find out, that's where you kind of have your big, oomph. You know what I mean? And I want my story to end a different way. I want to know, for everyone to know that I was here. Y'all know that song by Beyonce? I absolutely love it. If you don't know it, you should go listen to it. I was here. I was here. I did something, and I helped somebody. And for me, that's the good life.
Yeah, I love the analogy of a story, because a lot of times what most people don't realize, we are all born into the middle of someone else's story.
Yes. All right.
However, once we enter into the story, we become now the author of the way that story ends. Yes. And so you can choose to have a different ending. It doesn't have to be the ending that reflects your family. It doesn't have to be the ending that people tell you in terms of who you should be or how it should end. It can end however you want it to end. Right. But holding on to the beginning of a story that you have no control over.
Exactly.
It's not freeing. It's not opening your mind. It's keeping you bound. Release yourself, free yourself, and realize that you can author the life that you want to have.
Ooh, I like that. You can author the life that you want to have. Have some compassion for yourself and change your story. You could have had sexual addiction. You could have been a gambler. You could have been a drinker. You could have had a drug addiction. You could have all that wrapped into one. How many times have you heard about, a lot of times preachers and pastors and have had a rough beginning, who have had a change in life and are now pastoring to thousands and thousands of people. You know what? Those are the people you can connect with, because you're like, they've been where I've been. They've seen my struggle. Or they have felt my struggle. And you know what? I want somebody who isn't perfect. Well, guess what? None of us are perfect. It's finding that person and finding that compassion for yourself to maybe, look at their story and say, you know what? I can see a little bit of myself in that. And look where they have gotten with their transparency, with their vulnerability, with their authenticity. Walk into that. Have some compassion for ourselves. It's a good life. Final thoughts, Henry?
Final thoughts. if you look at some of the biggest winners in this world and the most successful people, a lot of their success was kick-started by a huge disappointment. So it's all about what you do with that disappointment. Do you want to just continue to fail and go down that negative path, or do you want to bounce back and do something about it?
What are you going to do about it?
That's right.
Dr. Wilborn, final thoughts?
I think the only final thought that's just coming to my mind is that, you don't have to be perfect. Being good enough is good enough.
Ooh,
I like that.
I like that. And we're going to end on that. Have a little compassion for yourself. Being good enough is good enough. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Relationship Tuesday. You can follow Henry Jolly on social media and Dr. Tammy Wilborn. Again, I got 30 seconds. Give us your phone numbers again.
504-259-8671. Once again, that's 504-259-8671.
And Dr. Wilborn?
504-509-3995, 504-509-3995.
This is The Good Life, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. That is at TGL Radio Show, at TGL Radio Show. And if you would like to join, give us a call at 504-400-7127. You want to contact me? 504-400-7127. It's A Good Life, y'all, and I'm out.